Hello, welcome everybody to the NACP podcast number 3. We have a really great episode for you guys this week. We actually have a special guest in the form of Ross. He's going to be joining us later on to take a look at the game of the week of Ross versus Shane, not Sean. And we got a lot of cool stuff to cover today. So we have the special topic. We'll be talking about Z moves. We'll be looking at Leo's team. And here with us today, I have my co-host, Leo.
Hello, hello.
And we've got the returning basement dweller, Luke.
Yeah, hi, I'm still here, unfortunately. Every week, I feel somewhat permanent.
His enthusiasm is appreciated.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I was supposed to say that.
Awesome. Cool. So we're going to hop right into things. We're going to be taking a look at the Week 4 recap. So, starting off with Luke, what do you have to say about Hayden?
Hayden is a guy, and he is 4-4 right now. 4 wins, 4 losses, -7 differential, number 10 in the standing. Kind of a little bit of a slide from him. I remember in like the earlier weeks he was fighting with Laurel for first, and now he's kind of just middle of the pack in it. He's not out of it, so that's good. He can still get in there, but right now he's outside of the playoff spot. And it's halfway, right? Halfway through the tournament?
I think we just passed the hump.
Yeah, starting to actually look at the standings, and it actually is starting to matter. So he just needs a couple more wins and that kind of stuff, but he's looking okay.
Moving on to Laurel, she had a bye week this week, and her other match, she lost to me in a really close match. It was a good one. Laurel started out really strong. She held that first place spot for 3 weeks or only 2? I think 3 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
But she held on to those high standings for a little while, and he's gotten a couple of losses at this point and is heading a little bit more towards the middle, but she's definitely not one to take lightly.
Yeah, agreed. So Kelsey here, she had a really rough week. Honestly, coming up against Shane and Reggie is no easy week.
That looks like my week this week.
So she did come out a little worse for wear, but she did take into account the trades we suggested, and coming into this next week, I know she's going to do significantly better.
Even if she doesn't get the wins, the matches are going to get better.
Exactly.
And then we got Leo,
Hi.
which is awkward to talk about because he's right here.
They're talking about me.
Yeah. He smashed Sean and he smashed Laurel, and he's smashing it with a 6-2 win-loss record right now, and a +12 differential. Have you gotten a sweep this tournament, Leo? 6-0, 6-1s, anything like that?
I think I may have had a 6-2.
6-2.
I've honestly been playing my games really defensively. I'm sacking when I need to sack.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, some people they have teams that are a little bit more balanced, so sweeping isn't really something that happens too often.
I've got controlled ways to sweep, and I'm in third only by differential, I think.
Oh yeah, are you?
Yeah.
Oh
Shane,
yeah, you're
and
tied
I are
with
6-2. Moving on to Ross, he lost to Chris, but he also had a fantastic game against Shane that he came out on top, and that's going to be the match that he talks with us later on in the show. So look forward to that. He's doing well. He's kind of middle of the road right now, but his wins are really convincing, and he's definitely not one to be taken lightly. And he's only been, I think he kind of wavered a little bit coming out of the gate, but since he's been doing some climbing, if I'm not mistaken, that looks like an improved standing for this week. So Ross is making his way back up top. Look out for him.
So William had a pretty unfortunate week with Dave's dropout. William actually ended up losing a win this week due to that. More about that later. And his other game was against me, and unfortunately, he got 6-0 swept. He's doing okay. Honestly, he came into this tournament wanting to prove that, he can actually get wins, he can actually play. And I think he has proven that. He's not last. He has gotten wins against significant players. I think he's achieving more than what I think he was even hoping to do in this tournament so far. So I'm actually glad with how well he's doing.
And then the next one on the list is Luis, and Steve forfeited. What happened with that? You guys have anything to say about that?
Just didn't play their matches, which is not good.
Okay. And then defeated Hayden.
Big-
+5. Wow. Looks like a big win. I don't think I saw that game. Too bad. It
Yep.
sounds like it might actually have been a good match. I'll go back and watch it later. He's at a 4-3 overall record with a -2 differential. That puts him in 9th. So that means that he's probably going to be fighting with Hayden and Ross there for the 8th spot. But it looks like the race for 8th is actually starting to come to fruition a bit,
Yeah, we're
especially with Sean being in
Yeah,
7th.
exactly. We're starting to get pretty competitive for those playoff spots. But
And-
Sean had a bit of an unfortunate week. He had two really close losses, one to me and one to Chris, but they were both pretty close games. Sean is still holding on to the 7th place spot, so he's not in quite as much danger as Ross. But both of them are on the rise right now. Yeah, Sean actually somehow managed to gain this week despite having two losses.
I think it was maybe the
forfeits that
Dave
messed with
thing
that?
was. Yeah, I think the Dave thing might have affected his standing.
Yeah, things changed a little bit, but Sean is still a strong contender. So even if he had a bit of a down week this week, I'm sure he's gonna pull it back together towards the end of the season.
And we have Chris next. Chris has actually been on a bit of a winning streak, if I am correct.
Yeah, you're right.
He came out, defeated two really strong opponents, in my opinion. He defeated Ross and Sean, both with +2s. He's actually sitting at a pretty strong 5th spot.
Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely surprising.
What's cool about those defeats against Ross and Sean is that kind of cements him above that like 8th place fight, because now he's got the matchups against both of the people that are below him like that. So that's actually really nice for him. And then the next one on the list is Kyler. He lost to Calvin and then defeated me. It just sounds weird to say. No comment about him beating me. Yeah, and then his win loss is 2-5, -7. So he's in 12th. He's not out of it though. It's still not too bad yet. I think this is a really important week for him yet, if my math makes sense. I think he also was someone that lost a win because Dave left. So kind of sucked for him, but yeah, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And yeah, he has a pretty important week this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Next is the current first place holder. Reggie had a real close loss against Hayden, where it really came down the wire, and then had a just a clean 6-0 against Kelsey. So he's going pretty far with his differentials right now and holding strong to that first place because of an enormous +20 differential.
Yeah, because I think he said like 2 good sweeps.
Yeah, he's had at least this one 6-0, and I think he may have one more 6-0.
And Luke came out with about a 50-50 here. Nice clean 50-50. Defeated Dan with +2, but lost to Kyler in -2. So kind of two steps forward, 2 steps back, dancing around.
Yeah.
11th place isn't the worst, though.
I feel like I got a little bit lucky with Dan here because, after you see the trades that he did at the end of the week, he kind of came into the tournament with someone else's team, and I don't think he really knew what exactly to do with like those Pokemon.
You caught him at a really pivotal point, I think.
Yeah, kind of while he's putting on his pants.
Yeah.
Sure. I got lucky with that one, I think.
Just a
And then
little
the next person on the list is Calvin. Yeah, so Calvin beat Kyler. Calvin beat William. 2 really good games for him. +4, +6. My math does that correctly. That's +10. Goddamn.
Nailed it.
And then he's actually someone that lost to Dave, so he actually benefits. He's at 5-1 record overall now, which is actually really good for him. So and his differential is also 23. So if he can, he's in a very good spot to beat Reggie here. So it's very close up on the top of the standings overall.
Next we have formerly the team belonging to Manny, now the team belonging to Daniel.
The artist formerly known as Manny.
The artist formerly known as Manny, who lost to Luke, but went on to do some really massive trades that I'm sure are going to really help him out just in terms of knowledge and comfort. I'm sure he's trading for stuff that he's going to appreciate more than what Manny left him. So I would be on the lookout for Dan now that he's got a team that I hope he can say is improved.
So we come up to second placeholder. Shane definitively beat Kelsey there. Like I said, she had a rough week. Some tough opponents. But then lost to Ross in a pretty spectacular way. Very good game, as we'll cover later on the show. So, yeah, pretty big week for these top two guys, showing that they're not, undefeatable. But he's still holding on very strongly to that second place spot. So
Yeah, for sure. And then we got Steven at the bottom. Forfeited to Lewis. Really too much to say about that. Didn't really have a week. His other game was a bye, so yeah. He's at 0-7. Put another 0 in front of that. He's James Bond. He's at minus 34 differential, and he's technically in 16th with that low differential. Just got to play your games, man. Who knows? Win a couple games. Just have fun at this point. You could play spoiler. You could do some dumb sets. Well, I say dumb sets. You can do some fun sets. You could just have some fun with the games, and who knows?
So real quickly before we move on, I just want to address the Dave situation a little bit. At this point, we've had 2 dropouts, which is more than any other tournament. I kind of figured we would have problems, especially with players who we don't actually know, like, personally in real life. However, I'm going to stay true to my promise. So if we lose any more players and can't find a replacement, that means that the playoffs are going to return to a 4-player single elimination tournament, and unfortunately, we're going to lose the monetary prizes. So let's try to do our best to keep everything together. We're halfway through. I think we can make it to the end, guys. Just if you lose, just realize it's at this point I'm banning people from the group. Dave did get a ban, so be part of the community. Grow with us. If you're losing, move forward from it, learn from it. Realize we're all here just having fun. No point to just back out and just make things frustrating for everyone else. That's all.
It would be a real bummer for the people that are like fighting for that 8th and 7th place spot right now too, because there's you're starting to become a really good battle for that, and it would just suck if it just suddenly became the top 4. It's like, wow, that's lame.
Yeah. So hopefully no more issues going forward.
Do we want to talk about the kill leaders at all? It kind of looks the same, actually.
There's been
There's
a couple.
Tracheon there.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracheon.
Yeah, Tracheon's on there.
Yeah, there.
Yeah,
Lando 6-0. So.
I remember you saying a thing that was happening every single week, that the 5th spot was a different water type every single week.
Yeah, well, you guys ruined my trend.
The streak is broken.
Damn you, Chris.
Come on, Volcanion. That was your week.
Next week, Volcanion just gets a 6-0 somehow.
I hope so.
I wouldn't complain about that.
Okay, but yeah, I think we're ready to move on to our next special topic. So this week we're going to be talking about Z moves and Z move users.
So everybody gets their one Zmon. One thing that you're going to kind of notice about a lot of this is that people tend to really value their higher, harder hitting mons. People tend to be giving those Z crystals to the UU tier or the OU tier, with the exception of Luke, who thought that Raikou was UU, so...
Yeah, let's be honest, he's fucking UU.
Like, he's UU power, for sure. But
yeah.
People like really hard-hitting, high-tier Pokemon as their UU, and that's going to be a trend you'll see today. But to start things off, we have Hayden, who, if you recall our team analysis segment on him a couple of weeks ago, we had some criticisms about his Z move choice when it was on his Nidoqueen. But he's since fixed that by trading the Tentacruel, picking up an Entei, and switching that Z Crystal from Nidoqueen to Entei. That fixes a pretty big issue that we have with his team. We think that that's a really, really good decision. Get some decently hard-hitting moves out of that, too, and a good bit of variety as well. So I think he's got a pretty strong Z move user in there now, which you couldn't say about him a couple weeks ago.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he definitely fixed that problem. Laurel's Heatran, best Zmon user, into discussion.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, strong contender.
Yeah, that's some good analysis there, Calvin.
But come on, can you beat the versatility that Heatran has?
Yeah, fuck
Just
yeah, right here, my boy Volcanion, Kelsey's team, with the Z Volcanion. More or less the same thing as Heatran, let's be honest here.
Except
Got, like,
Heatran has the ability to trap Pokemon with Magma Storm, taunt them, and even potentially use that Z Solar Beam or Z whatever you have waiting in the back.
yeah,
Right?
but Heatran's broken.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Like, at least Volcanion's fair. They're both really good at what they do with the Z moves. They get some good versatility with it, and then if they decide to put on like Fire Emblem Z or something like that, just it's like a trick, like a truck. So,
A tricky truck.
Ooh, look,
What about Haxorus?
I get to talk about myself. I like Haxorus because he can set up, get big numbers, and hit people with a really, really hard, devastating Drake. It's a predictable thing to do, but it breaks pretty much everything. There's not much that stands up to that, aside from fairy types, which is why it's nice that you can do some Steelium Z, some Poisonium Z. He can honestly hold like 5 or 6 different Z crystals and all be pretty effective, so that's why I like Haxorus.
Yeah, hope everyone has fun figuring out which one's which. I'm not going to have fun figuring out. I think Ross has a freaking great Zmon user. The Renucleus with a Z move is just awesome. The fact that he takes less knockoff damage, the fact that his focus blasts are now more powerful and accurate, I think it's really good, honestly. It's a nuke, calm mind, set up and things, and then you kill them with a move. Not much more to say about that.
and then there's Komomo, who does it at the same time.
That's true.
he sets up and he kills something. He went to like the if they went to like community college, Komomo went to Harvard. So he sets up and he kills something at the same time. Isn't am I wrong in saying this? Isn't the Komomo or whatever it's called? Isn't that like isn't it banned or something?
It's banned in
UU?
UU.
Yeah, it's banned in UU. So
It's part of the reason why he's a ridiculously good Z move user in this format, because we play in OU and Komomium Z is totally legal in OU, which is why I wanted to draft it, and I couldn't.
it's kind of a cheat because it's under a UU Pokemon. So
I don't know. Tapu Koko is pretty good. He gets some pretty good coverage moves, I think, between Dazzling Gleam and Grass Knot. I guess that's all you really need, especially under Electric Train. Just Z Thunderbolt.
yeah, I think that's the common one.
Yeah, that's a pretty common. That's all I've really seen Lewis do. I don't know. It's kind of predictable, but it's worked out for him, so.
It can be hard to block for a lot of teams, honestly. Just like a Super Bolt.
If you don't have a good bulky ground type, then it's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to mute a notification in the background. I apologize.
No worries.
Moving on to Sean, who has another really hard-hitting electric type Z move user. Those stab gigavolts from Zeraora are ridiculous, and they can switch. They can be switch hitting too, because he's got the option to do it specially or physically with only like 10 points difference. I personally wish that it hit a little bit harder, but putting the Z crystal on it sort of solves that problem when you need it. So I like the Zeraora.
I just want to quickly say something about Sean's team just for a second, because I really liked the trade that he did with the Celebi to the Magneton, because I personally wanted to draft Tapu Koko and Zeraora together for the electric terrain to make Zeraora do that extra oomph, and Magneton, I'm pretty sure he did it just because it can set up electric terrain. It's like a budget Tapu Koko. So if that's actually Sean's play, or like his reason for trade, then I really like that trade, and I'm kind of excited to see it.
I don't know, Chris's Blacephalon. It's something he hasn't used yet, but it's potential to be broken. You nuke something, you get your special attack boost, or you get your speed boost, and you're ready to sweep.
Being able to do a mind
brainless
blown
strategy.
and power it up with a Z crystal so that you don't take any recoil is insane.
That's scary
It's
damage.
pretty good.
Sure. And then the next one is Latias. I feel like he's used maybe the Dragon Z crystal on it, I think, a couple times.
Dragonium is the most common one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he could also jab the Psychic if he wanted to.
Oh, there's a lot of options.
Yeah,
Latias is a
he gets,
huge move pool.
yeah, he gets Energy Ball, I think a couple poison moves, Fairy or something like that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
If you want some evidence of how to use it as a Zmon user, go watch some of the Team League matches. It was a Zmon in that tournament too.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Reggie's got it on his Lando, which is only adding to the freaking versatility of Lander Ethereum. You draft it to be versatile, making it your Z Crystal user only makes perfect sense because it runs like 8 different types of Z Crystals on the OU ladder too. Not really, it runs like 3, but they're all really good. So
Z-Fly.
yeah, Z-Fly,
Yeah.
Z-Ground, and Z-Rock. All fantastic.
He's had a lot of success with it too. He's got a lot of OKOs with like Continental Crush. I think that's what it's called.
Continental Crush is Z-Rock.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the Super Sky Striker,
Yeah,
Supersonic Sky
Supersonic Sky
Striker.
Striker.
Yeah, the flying one. Yeah, he's gotten a lot of OKOs just by using that.
What do you guys say about Raikou?
I fucking love him, Raikou.
I like the Raikou pick. It's adds the versatility of Raikou in much the same way that it adds to the versatility of Landorus. It's nice to have something really fast that can nuke hard.
I personally like it on Raikou because you can hit the Psyche MZ, you can hit Ghost MZ, you can hit Fight MZ, you can just do the good old fashioned Electri MZ and just hit with a Super Bolt.
Yeah.
I've done that I think in one of my games. So and I don't like that strategy. Just doing like the super stab, but it does work in some situations.
But yeah. Hey, Mew, don't sleep on it because it'll whack you with a Psyche MZ. Oh, switch into your Steel type. Oh, never mind. Fire MZ. Do I want to sweep? You bet I do. I rock polish, and I've got medium Z. Boom. Psychic terrain, baby.
Why does this sound like one of those info commercials I would turn off?
Because it is. I'm selling it. I'm selling this Mew to you guys on its power.
I'm not buying. Actually, I guess I did buy. Like, inside scoop is right after I played Calvin. In our game, I actually like went and made like an OU team with Mew on it. I wanted to play with it. I was just like, I really like that supernova thingy. That's kind of cool. I want to use that.
Moving on to Daniel. His Z user is Rotom Heat, which is an interesting choice to me. I don't know what else he would put it on. Maybe the Victini, but I thought that the Rotom Heat was a little bit of a weird choice. But nonetheless, you can't underestimate the ability to hit something really hard with Gigavolt, Havoc, or Inferno Overdrive. They're some of the most common seen Z crystals for a reason. So, Rotom Heat's pretty good with the dual stab. I like it.
Yeah. I don't know. Kieran Black's pretty cool. Like, it's already kind of hard to wall the thing, but then when you realize, like, your resisted to ice Pokemon still dies to a Z Blizzard, or what's that other one? It's like his Freeze Shock. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, that
140 base power. Ooh. Z move it, and
200.
it's even stronger. So yeah, this Pokemon's a beast. Great wall breaker. I like that it's Z moved. It just kills things. Simple as that.
It murders.
It just kills things. Wow. And then the last one on the list is newly renovated team Steven.
Hey,
The Lucario.
I remember when I had that as my Z user.
Yeah, how did you like it? I was gonna ask you.
I wish it hit harder.
Oh. Okay. So, Yeah, what does it get? It gets fighting, steel.
It gets
what else does it get?
everything. It really does
gets
get
everything.
absolutely everything. It gets fighting, it gets steel, it gets psychic, it gets dark, it gets fire,
Wow, tell me more. I'm really interested.
ghost.
Ooh.
It gets a lot of
Love a
moves.
good ghost. Right. But it doesn't hit that hard, you say.
It's got a lot of setup moves. The problem is that it doesn't have the best one, which is Dragon Dance. If it could Dragon Dance, it would be great. As it stands, its only boosting options are Swords Dance and Nasty Plot, which are going to make it hit real hard, but it's still just a little bit too slow.
Right.
You know? I like it for its versatility. It's going to hit hard when you get an opportunity to make it hit hard. I just find it a little bit difficult to get there. I'm not typically one that appreciates running agility, though.
Right.
But it does get agility. But then you're kind of in the opposite problem where it doesn't hit as hard. And if it does hit as hard as you want it to, it's too slow. And
Gotcha. So it sounds like it's just
it's okay.
you gotta play it well to make it work well.
Yeah, if you can be really predictive with it, you can pull it off.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
So, a common thing you'll see with all these Zmon users is what Luke and Leo were already talking about. They're either sweepers or wall breakers. Now, what I want to say to you,
Except
that's
for
I did a
Leo.
look. Well, it uses overheat. That's wall breaking.
Oh yeah.
What I want to bring up is a couple Z moves that are more support or setup that I think are kind of cool. Maybe you guys find them interesting. Want to try them out? I like Z mirror move. So basically, it gives you a sword stance, and then you use a Z move of whatever your opponent was going to go for.
It's
So if your
awesome.
opponent, say you have a Dodrio, okay, your opponent has like a Thunder Punch something, okay, you're going to get your sword stance, and you're going to use Gigavolt Havoc, which is awesome.
Can
So,
you get mirror move on Mew?
probably.
Like, I know that Mew can learn every attack. I guess the question is whether or not mirror move has ever been a tutor. I don't know.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Another cool one is Z Parting Shot. So this was one commonly used on like Persian or volley. Basically, what it does, it parting shots you out as normal, but whoever you bring in gets fully restored afterwards. Kind of cool.
That is cool.
And the last one, which is really gimmicky. It's really gimmicky, but it's funny sometimes. I used it on a barrel once. It's Z Yawn. So you yawn your opponent, and then you get a speed boost. So with the barrel, you double your speed there. They're gonna have to switch out that turn. You get a free sword stance. Boom. Begin your sweep, baby.
There's a lot of really goofy ones. My personal favorite weird one is Z Belly Drum.
Oh, that one's sick.
I used it online. I think I used it on Line last season during the team draft. I had a Belly Drum line.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if I made it Z that often. I think I did. But
That's terrifying.
it is a full restore or I should say like a full restore at the beginning of the turn, and then it immediately does the Belly Drum. So you could actually use it as like a health reset if you wanted it to. You could like Belly Drum once, then take a hit, and then Z Belly Drum and put yourself back up to full. But I think, does it fail if you can't raise your attack there, or does it half health you and then fail to raise?
Not sure.
I think it's the
Have to test
latter,
that out.
but it's still
Yeah.
good. That's my favorite weird one. I think that feels like a pretty natural end to Z moves. What do you think, guys? Any closing thoughts?
I don't have any cool ones, to be honest. Like Z substitute. I don't think it does anything extra. like there's a lot that like they do absolutely nothing interesting. Like you can like do like Z defrog. I think it like does extra like evasive drop or something like that. Like there's a lot of really wacky like just little additions to some moves. It's fun to just play around and just like see what kind of stupid Z move you can get out of some stupid moves. Most of them are completely useless. It's really great.
It's really great.
It's really fun, honestly.
My final thought: don't put Zmon as your Smeargle, Ornito Queen, Ornito King. That's
There
it.
you go.
Cool. Nice. So next up on the list, we have team analysis, and we're going to be talking about Leo's team. So
The real schmuck.
Yo,
this should be a good one.
hope so.
Ugh. So Luke, what do you think about Leo's team? Start things
And
off.
like, oh, do you want me to start? I'll start.
Give it to me straight, Doc.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a straight.
Not only like Leo, or just like Leo, his team is the worst in every single way. Leo is the worst person, and he has the worst team in the tournament. Like, it's just complete garbage in every single way, and so is he as a person. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
I have no rebuttal.
No rebuttal. Yeah, so Leo's team, he's got the Tapu Lele, which is everybody's favorite asshole in OU.
People like me.
Can you... Yeah, sure. He's also got oh, who's that Pokemon? Bisharp. Wow.
Where did that?
Man, I think that's just gonna die like 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure and do absolutely nothing in your games. I don't know about that Pokemon, man. Seems a little questionable.
Sounds like you have bad luck with him. I think I can.
Yeah.
I think I can pull it off.
Bisharp's a good Pokemon. You just have to not mind game yourself and actually click the right move, or else it'll just not do anything. And then you got your Haxorus, which we've already talked about quite a bit, and then you got Celebi instead of the Togekiss. Yeah, so you made a lot of changes just in your UU lineup with you dropped
I dropped all
Crawdaunt.
three.
You gave that to me. Oh yeah, you dropped all three. Oh yeah. Why did I thought you dropped Lucario in a previous week?
I did. That wasn't this week that I dropped the card.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
Yeah,
2
okay.
weeks.
I don't think I've seen one of your games since you've done. Oh no, I think I saw you play Haxorus, but you haven't used Bisharp or Celebi.
Well, we haven't had. No, I didn't. I didn't use either of them. The one game that
Oh, really?
Haxorus I've used in every game since I traded for it, though.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Got Mega Steelix, which has been proven to be quite the Pokemon so far in this tournament. Not just from you, but who's got the normal Steelix?
Calvin is the normal Steelix.
I do.
Calvin's got the normal Steelix. Yeah. Steelix has kind of been kind of a terror.
I haven't done anything stupid with it, like completely win a game with a setup set, which I've done in the past, but it's been doing its job in less flashy ways, and I appreciate that. That's why I drafted it.
It seems like one of the most consistent Pokemons from what I've seen. Like, you guys use it like maybe not every game, but like in a lot of your games, and it just seems really reliable.
I'd be surprised if you could find a game of mine that didn't have a Steelix. I don't think I've done that
Oh,
yet.
there you go. Yeah, and then your Robombe, I really like that Pokemon. Has been setting up your team really well. I remember that one game, I think it was against Sean, where he gave you a choice scarf. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the reason I won that game.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, oh man, so sad. And then Flygon, yeah, shit Pokemon. No,
Garbage.
It's redundant. It's redundant on my team. I like it as a weird defogger, but Haxorus does its job, but better.
and then Incineroar, you've been using that very good too. Between him and your Steelix, it's probably been your like most reliable kind of Pokemon, taking hits, giving out hits. Been pretty good. The Zatu, have you used that since you traded it? I think maybe once.
Oh, like nearly every game.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I'm using it all the time
Yeah.
as it's a really consistent starter, and I like it as a more reliable defogger than my Togekiss that I had before that I've now traded.
And then your Clawitzer, which is actually been really good. You've used that like every game, I think, so far.
I've used
Water
most of the
Dark
same.
type.
I've used most of the same Pokemon in my games, to be honest. There's a couple of flexes, but I have like kind of a core that I more or less have been taking every game. Clawitser's been a nice wall breaker for me though. The Expert Belt set and the Spec set are just awesome.
Yeah, true enough.
Or if it
That's
got
the
Flash
reason.
Cannon.
That's the reason why we got the trade going between the Bisharp and the Crawdaunt there, because it was kind of a redundancy for you to have Crawdaunt and the Thoughter in some ways.
Crawdaunt's job ended up kind of being split between Haxorus and Clawitzer, and I just found myself liking Haxorus and Clawitzer enough that I was comfortable taking the two of them in most of my teams compared to Crawdaunt in any of them, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was another thing with your Crawdaunt too, though. It was the way that you drafted with the Tapu Lele, because it prevents priority moves. So, and Crawdaunt relies a lot on Aqua Jet.
It does.
So, it's a little awkward to use.
I was looking for really specific situations to abuse the combination of Sticky Webs and Psychic Terrain, because that's just a nasty combination. And it doesn't take much to get Crawdaunt to outspeed major threats when they're -1 speed.
True.
And at that point,
just Crab Hammer.
Liquidation. or Crab Hammer, rather.
Crab Hammer, yeah. Crab Hammer hits like a truck.
Yes, it does. Great, great Pokemon. I'm sad that
I'm glad it's gone. It's a great Pokemon. I'm glad it's gone.
Nah. You've been keeping kind of quiet over there. You want to speak your mind?
So when Leo first drafted it, getting the Lele was really good. Honestly, that's probably one of the better OU picks out of everybody, I'd say. Just because the combination of Psychic Terrain and Moonblast, or Fairy, is really hard to prep for. Like, you need designated steel types to counter it. And that just leaves Leo open to be able just to counter those things. It's a pretty solid game plan situation he can set up with. And having the Sticky Webs there, it helps with Lele's probably biggest flaw is the speed. So Sticky Web completely helps with that. However, the rest of the team was kind of a little... didn't really work well with it. Like they kind of mentioned, the Crawdaunt was a little weird because it can't just run the choice bound set. And Crab Hammer is great, Knockoff's good. But the problem is Aqua Jet's kind of useless now. And then same thing with Lucario. Like Lucario has so many different priority options with Extreme Speed, with Bullet Punch, Vacuum Wave. It really sucks having Psychic Terrain up and having to just put yourself in situations where you can only bring it in afterwards.
Lucario is not the one that I was expecting to be the biggest issue with that. I knew that Crawdaunt was going to be a bit of an issue, and I thought that Incineroar was going to be more of an issue, but I have found myself not feeling too lost without Fake Out.
And that's the thing. Incineroar is a really great Pokemon. Honestly, his ability to be bulky and really tanky and offer Intimidate and be able to U-turn around is so good. The only thing hurting him is his weakness to Stealth Rocks. But I think you found a good fix to that problem, which was another problem with your team. Your Defog was kind of an unfortunate situation with Togekiss.
Yeah.
Because Togekiss is just overwhelmed with so much work that also having a Defog is kind of tough for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Flygon just can't do anything extraordinarily well. It can do everything, but it can't do anything really great. So
I was kind of into the idea of Tailwind into U-turn on Flygon.
Yeah,
I haven't
a good
used
support
it yet,
like that.
but I think it has potential as a support. I just have found myself in I am overburdened with the amount of good support that I'm able to offer my team, and so it just ends up never having to do that.
Yeah, it's just hard to find a spot on the team.
Yeah, because I already have such great support, so I can't really mess with that tech.
You also got rid of the awkwardness with your priority thing as well, with your trades and everything like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Opted for more power in different ways. Hacksters has a higher base speed than the Crawdaunt, and with Dragon Dance, you don't need priority. You're just going to nuke things with your Z-move, with your stab, with your coverage, which is great because that's all Tapu Lele needs. And especially with Hacksters, because what are people going to be switching into Hacksters? They're Steel types, and they're Fairy types, right? So Fairy types, Tapu Lele doesn't care that much about, but Tapu Lele does care about the Steel types. So taking a Z Draco or whatever Z Outrage, yeah, you'll take the hit, but can you now take all of Tapu Lele's hits from a choice spec under Sticky Web?
The low kick that comes after that, because it gets like ridiculously good fighting moves too. It gets low kick and superpower.
Earthquake, like yeah, it's so the Haxorus is really great on your team. I really like that pick. And the fact you let off with it in that one game and just nuke something, that just made me happy.
I love that. That was the Laurel game, and
yeah,
5 turns. I think no, the first 3 turns went exactly as predicted when I was team building, like the exact turns I knew it was gonna happen, because it's you can't. Everything dies to a +1. Not even Outrage. Z Dragonclaw. Everything dies.
Probably one of the best trades, though, I think you did do was the Zatu trade, because you didn't really fix your defog problem. Because with Sticky Web, it's kind of tough trying to even want to do a defog, because you're hurting yourself with that. Zatu just completely ignores the question and just pressures the team in another way. It's like, well, now you can't even get your stuff up. So I like that fix to your problem.
Yeah, it just helps that I'm in a position where I have to mind game the rocks more than I have to mind game the defog / the rapid spin, which is maybe a little bit less common for some people. And Zatu is just a tool that it's the reason I've taken it in like almost all the games that I've had since I traded for it. And
yeah,
it literally was like my week 2 trade. I think I saw that. I'm like, oh, how did this get by? Because I just think it's a great NU pick.
Mm-hmm.
What's also interesting is the strategy that I was doing with Basharp. The strategy that I was doing with... Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to make a point. The strategy that I was running Basharp in was as a way to protect my rocks, because it gets Defiant, so you can put it in, block the rocks from getting defogged, or if they just defog, then you get +2. And then you are much more of a threat. You get like a free sword stance. And then there you go. So you can actually you don't protect the rocks, but you can threaten off of your rocks being removed if you wanted to. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to play around with Bisharp Tech, because
yeah, if you play it properly, unlike me, and actually be able to kill something, then that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we've hit everything there.
Yeah.
What are your guys' kind of closing thoughts and ranking? Basically, what I think Leo before had about a 3-star team, because he did have some problems, but it was still a strong Sticky Web team that could also function as a good balance team.
Yeah.
But with the trades, he's just patched up those problems pretty well. There's still some things that are left open to interpretation. There's still some loose ends here and there, but it's definitely a much stronger team, and it's very telling for where he is in 3rd place right now. So I'd give it a solid 4 stars right now.
So I like your team. I think like after seeing it in games, I actually think I'd rather have your team. So I think 4 stars makes perfect sense all the way around. I don't think it's like perfect. I think there's like a couple things that are a little awkward about it, and I don't just with like the like I didn't even think about like the psychic terrain plus like the webs, but that's actually like a really good idea. Just blocking the priority when it's like the only thing that you can do to still be fast. But it also blocks your priority, which makes it a little awkward for like some Pokemon on your team. And I think that's like a big enough weakness on it, even though it's also your strength. So I think that puts it at 4 stars.
All right.
I think maybe like if your Flygon was like Emboar and your Incineroar was like a rapid spinner, it might have worked better.
But... I think the Incineroar is fine.
Oh, I'm not.
The Flygon like
I'm not.
Flygon's okay too. It's good speed control. So
it is. I would like to do something about it. My options are just limited.
Yeah.
RU is a graveyard.
It is a graveyard. I
desert.
did not expect Flygon to make it through to the end of the season for me. and for every one of my UU picks to be gone. I thought that I was never going to get a UU trade. But somehow I had spent this whole time ignoring the fact that Haxorus was just like the upgraded version of Lucario as a Z-move user. And now I feel
you got 3 UU trades.
Yeah, I did. Every one of my UUs is different.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you traded you got the Celebi like maybe like 15 or 20 minutes after Sean dropped it.
Oh, I knew that I wanted it for weeks.
Yeah.
Ask Connor about this. I've talked to Connor about wanting Celebi for weeks.
That's great.
But yeah, I don't feel like I should give myself a rating, but I appreciate that you guys are giving me some positive ones. So,
well, what do you think it's, what am I trying to say? Out of the tournaments that you've played, is this one of your more favorite teams, or is this like a team that you like kind of wish you didn't have?
I think this is probably the most well-rounded team that I've drafted in one of these leagues.
The only other team I'd say probably rivaled this was your Steel team in your debut.
I really liked that team. I thought that team was awesome.
That was a strong team. Having McGearna was ridiculous.
That's true.
But like this, as far like compared to the BDL, compared to the team league, I think you've really got a really strong one here.
Yeah, I agree. We're rambling. We should probably call it here.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the end of the Leo team discussion. We're now going to move on to this week's sponsor.
This week's sponsor of the NACP League is Basements. If you need to store something, or you really need to keep someone around so that you actually have someone to do your podcast, look no further than Basements.
Coming to you soon. Yeah.
Coming to a house near you.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously this spot's open for sponsors in the future, so let us know if you want to sponsor the show or share for shares or whatever. Let me know. That's gonna wrap that up.
Also, my spot on the podcast is also open. If you just want to talk about Pokemon, just message Calvin or Leo, and they'll probably ask you to come on.
We appreciate Luke's contribution to the show.
Yeah. They just have someone new to talk to you.
But right now, we're actually going to be talking about the game of the week with Ross. So, Luke is going to be tagging out of this, and we'll be right back with you with Ross.
See you.
See you in a bit, everybody.
All right, so we're here with the game analysis of the game of the week, number 4?
Week 4.
Right?
Yeah, these are a little bit delayed, but week 4.
So we have Ross versus Shane here, and for the first week, actually, we have a special guest and Ross here with us. Say hello.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Awesome. Just a little backstory on Ross. Ross has been in our group for quite a while. He joined in on the Animal Tournament, and he's played in almost every single major tournament since, and has become a significant player in our group. So he had a really good match this week with Shane, and I'm excited to have him on our show here to explain his thought process and what he prepped for and such.
Yeah. Very stressful.
Was it really stressful? What was the stuff that you were like most concerned with from Shane's team?
Immediately turn 1, when I found out that his Mandibuzz was almost max speed, I immediately panicked. Well, not panicked, but I started trying to brainstorm how I was going to take out this Mandibuzz that outsped all of my bulky mons, including Reuniclus, which was my win con for this match, as I ran the double dance set, which you guys will see. So,
yeah, so we can get going through some of these turns. So yeah,
So basically, what was going on for almost the first 60 turns was me trying to figure out and trying to whittle down this Mandibuzz as best I can by double predicting, sometimes triple predicting what was going to happen. Pretty stressful and pretty salty the whole damn time. If
Yeah,
you
this
guys
is
can't
like
see in the chat.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
I think I said GG like 3 times, like I was already lost.
I saw a few of them. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Um, one point that caught me off guard that was like pretty devastating was that knockoff on to my Aggron's choice band. After that, I was having a pretty hard time, and I just had to play around my tanks.
Yeah, the loss of power was really bad here, especially since you had such good switch-ins to your attacks. Like
Yeah.
Palisand's an annoying defensive wall.
Yeah, exactly.
That Palisand's been a menace for like everybody. It's always coming out, whether it becomes an offensive surprise or a defensive surprise. People just aren't used to playing around that thing, and Shane has some experience
was
with
just-
that mon, I can tell.
It was definitely hard with the Palisand because it hit Yuxi and Reuniclus both pretty hard. I mean, Yuxi not super hard, but still enough that I would need to switch out after at least 1 or 2. And then the Mandibuzz, of course, being dark, I had a really hard time using any of my psychic mons.
Yeah, because
So.
Reuniclus has been your win condition for a couple of these matches now, and
Yeah,
having 2 ridiculously strong dark types in Mandibuzz and Umbreon that deal with that is a real threat to your team. Just gonna kind of let this go on in the background.
Yeah, so right there, he just got the knockoff onto my Aggron. Didn't really know what to do after this. Just tried to do the heavy slam. Hopefully catch him on a switch because he kept switching out that Mandibuzz.
And being a menace.
Yeah, I mean, the Palisand wasn't a huge issue. It was more that Mandibuzz. Once you guys see me get those rocks up and me play around the rocks, that made it a lot less stressful for me. I just had to make the right predictions and hopefully whittle that down enough for me to get I think it was a Scald that KO'd the Mandibuzz. So basically Shane had every mon to hit my bulky mons with, Brave Bird on Mandibuzz, can't switch in Amoonguss to it anymore. Knockoff on Mandibuzz and Taunt, can't switch Yuxi in or Reuniclus. Having Brave Bird, I can't really switch in Bulu easily or knockoff. So
I just want to point out the fact that Tapu Bulu is fucking ridiculous with a choice band.
Yeah,
The damage it did to that Aggron was insane.
I know.
Like I think this is kind of the point where you were actually kind of getting a little bit back at him because being able to take down a couple of his walls there really helped you, and yeah, the Stealth Rocks was just punishing the Mandibuzz at that point, which was helping you even more. So I think at this point in the match, you definitely held a significant advantage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still had to play really careful. Just not letting that Mandibuzz, because I mean, remember it's got Brave Bird, right? So I can't really switch in anything to it, and that's why you guys see me sack that Bulu there, because I felt my tanks were going to be more important than the Bulu without a choice band. It would have been outsped by Venomoth and probably Kyurem as well anyway. So
you're mono attacking Reuniclus. You were hidden power fighting.
So the reason that I did that is because I think he has one more Darkmon in his draft, but I was expecting him to bring 2 Darkmons because they wall my team very heavily and do damage to my team. And to be completely walled to the point where I do 0% to both of those, it was not worth for me to bring Psychic and Psyshock and try and take out those 2 Mons because I knew they were going to be hard. Definitely didn't expect them to be that hard, but I'm really, really glad that I brought Hidden Power Fighting. So, I mean, it hits Mandibuzz neutral, it hits Umbreon super effective, and it hits Kyurem super effectively. So, I was happy to bring the Hidden Power Fighting. I didn't see a huge issue with it, especially if I was just going to Calm Mind boost anyway.
Yeah. And to be fair, he hadn't brought Venomoth very much to any of his other games. So
No.
the chances of him bringing it were slim. But he did bring him here, and it was clutch as far as at least dragging the game out as long as he did.
Yeah, I did a decent amount of work with the Bug Buzz, Roost, and Quiver. That's another thing I'd be careful about is him getting the Quiver dance on a prediction, right? And then being able to 1 or 2 hit KO my Amoonguss, which he almost did a couple times. Thank God I brought Synthesis on Amoonguss.
I'm not surprised that you bring the Venomoth into your team. It just feels like Venomoth and then Dark type just feels like a really good core to take out a strong psychic presence like your team has.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Having
playing around that on your part is really impressive.
having so many psychic mons, and then of course, the bug being super effective on Amoonguss as well. I mean, necessary for him to bring for sure.
That toxic was really good too, because the Mandibuzz is kind of holding his team together, and
Yeah.
the fact that like you got the knockoff earlier, you got those stealth rocks up, you got the toxic, even though he can heal bell it away, all this pressure is putting him in a tougher spot, which is good.
Yeah.
And right there,
Yeah,
he messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it is.
And now it's a sack. That's a big play. That's a big turn.
Yeah, so it was a big momentum swing for me once that Mandibuzz was down. Still had to play careful because of that Venomoth being able to KO both Amoonguss and Reuniclus, which I need to win. So, and then of course Kyurem sitting in the back there. Not sure if it was scarfed or not. I forget. I think it was scarfed because he should have brought the Z move because he couldn't kill Amoonguss.
Yeah. If he brought that, I think it would have been GG here, because then he would have been able just to switch up his moves.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your Amoonguss this game has been the thorn in his side in the same way the Mandibuzz has been his thorn in yours, and so
yeah,
having
exactly.
something to break through that would have been a pretty big momentum switch for Shane.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention the Mandibuzz being such a huge pain with the taunt. It also had overcoat, and that really hurts my Amoonguss as well. So I had a really tough time with that. Yeah.
Wow, he designed the ultimate Amoonguss tank counter. That's funny.
Yeah. He was we were talking after, and we were talking that he probably should have brought the Z move or what's it called? Safety goggles on Kyurem or another mon.
Safety goggles would have been an interesting choice.
Yeah, because he could have brought more of a stall breaker set with Kyurem if he ran the Z move or safety goggles, and then ran Roost even, because then he could have kept Kyurem healthy, and then just run Ice Beam, Fusion Bolt, and
because once that Aggron goes down, I don't really have anything to immediately KO that Kyurem. So having that Roost set would have actually been really beneficial for him.
Yeah. Get out here, but I'm pretty sure you guys kind of play the same for a while here.
Yeah. It's
we do this switching for at least another 25 turns, I think. I know he's
cautious.
Yeah, I know he's running out of wishes, and he's realizing that I only have so many synthesis left on Amoonguss, so
ooh.
Yeah, he gets
hard read there. That was good.
Yeah, so I can't remember how I got rid of this Kyurem here.
I'll skip forward a couple of turns.
Clear smog.
Seems like
I can't remember.
Because I'm pretty sure you. Oh, see, he overpredicted right there.
And he overpredicted. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. See, at that point, I don't think there's really a point in predicting, because he.
No, he just needs to play safe at this point.
Yeah.
Right, especially with the rocks sitting up, he just needs to play safe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is such a dangerous game playing Clear Smog against the Venomoth.
Ooh. I know, right?
You're treading the line.
I know. I had to do a lot of calcing here. If you guys were actually in the match, the turns were very long between both of us calking stuff.
I'm not surprised. You guys are both very careful players.
Yeah, so right here, bringing the Synthesize was really clutch for me because I was able to stay in against Venomoth, even with Life Orb on it.
Yeah, that's certainly a big deal. This Amoonguss has been much more of a menace to Shane than the Mandibuzz was to you. It's outstayed its welcome by a lot, I think, Shane's feeling at this point.
And it
Yeah,
finally
is
goes
he-
there, which is good.
Yeah, so if he had brought that Z move like Sub-Zero Slammer, that's where I think he saves and KOs that Amoonguss, and then I think he wins the game off of that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so right here, this is where we both realized that the game's probably over since I got the
Yeah,
acid
because
armor.
Renucleus just wins. The second Venomoth went down. So yeah, very good game. I like how both of you guys played a really strong end game. A lot of times I feel people fumble in the end games, but you clear game plans. And a lot of it came
Yep.
down to just some simple predictions or some simple oversights.
Yeah, exactly. Also want to mention, when people have like win cons, they need to realize what their win cons are and not toss them away right away. Reuniclus being my win con, I need to not, switch it in every chance that I get at the beginning, right? I need to make sure that I know
with those opportunities.
Yeah, and this is for everyone, make sure you know the moves of all your opponent's Pokemon before you send out your win con to win the game for you.
I absolutely agree with that. A lot of new players kind of overestimate or underestimate their opponents and just think their win condition is unstoppable when they've prepared for your win condition. They normally have a tech or some kind of coverage.
Exactly. And you can only hide your win con so much, right? And once the opponent realizes what your win con is, they can do a lot of things to try and get it out, but you got to realize that that's what's going to win you the game and play it safe around that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, that was a really great game.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that game, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope some of the newer players really grinded that one out and watched it, because there's a lot of things in that game that are that next step for those players, like predictions and preparation and win cons, right? There's a lot of things that they can learn from a game like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we're gonna cut it off there. Thanks for joining us, Ross.
Yeah, really
absolutely.
Had a lot of insightful things to say.
Yeah. No, just really appreciate you guys having me, and happy to be a part of the league.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to
Yeah, moving forward, hopefully you make playoffs, and I hope to see you in playoffs myself.
As do I. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good one, Russ.
You guys too. Bye-bye.